At 3 in the morning, Lake Kivu can look like polished stone. No ripples. No warning. Just dark water holding its shape. From the shore, you hear small things. Nets creaking. Insects ticking in grass. A boat knocking softly against a wooden post. Nothing about the lake announces what it keeps below. The danger is not floating on top. It is dissolved, layered, waiting. Lake Kivu lies between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, where villages, cities, fishing boats, and volcanoes share the same breath. The lake sits in the East African Rift, near Nyiragongo and Nyamuragira, two volcanoes that make the ground feel less permanent. Researchers estimate Kivu holds about 60 cubic kilometers of methane and about 300 cubic kilometers of carbon dioxide in solution. That is the wrong kind of quiet, not empty quiet, stored quiet, the kind a cellar has before a door opens. Kivu's deep water is strongly stratified. Chemical layers called chemoquines suppress mixing and keep heavier gas-rich water trapped below. Think of a bottle left unopened for too long. Pressure gathers where you cannot see it. Then, something changes the balance. A limnic eruption happens when dissolved gas suddenly escapes deep water, forming a dense cloud that can displace breathable air. Carbon dioxide does not need flames or teeth. It can arrive invisible, heavy, and low, sliding into rooms where people sleep. This has happened before. Lake Monon released carbon dioxide in Cameroon, killing 37 people in 1984. 2 years later, Lake Nyos released a larger carbon dioxide cloud. More than 1,700 people died in nearby valleys. Those lakes were smaller. That is the part that keeps scientists returning to Kivu with sensors, boats, models, and uneasy patience. A recent modeling study examined Kivu's hydrodynamics over the next 5 centuries, testing whether dissolved gases could trigger an outburst. Models do not scream. They produce lines, thresholds, margins. They ask the same question politely, again and again: what would disturb the layers? One concern is volcanic activity. A fissure reaching the lake could heat deep water and create a rising plume. Pause. A plume sounds gentle. In water, it can be a hand reaching upward from the dark, pulling pressure with it. If enough gas leaves solution, bubbles form. Bubbles make water lighter. Lighter water rises. Rising water releases more gas. Scientists compare that feedback to removing the cat from carbonated liquid, except Kivu's bottle is a deep rift lake. On ordinary mornings, people cross that bottle in wooden boats. They buy fish, wash clothes, carry water, and watch weather gather over Congo. The RSC study notes that Kivu's catchment is densely populated, with roughly 5.7 million residents around it. A hazard map can make that sound tidy. Dots near water, numbers in columns. But every dot has a kitchen light. OCCRP reports more than 2 million people live near Kivu's shores, where methane projects have become political and legal questions. Because the methane is not only danger, it is also fuel. A resource trapped inside the same water that could turn against the shore. Methane extraction may provide electricity and reduce gas pressure, but poorly managed extraction can disturb the layers that keep gases contained. That is why one approach is caution, not panic. Watch who extracts, how they monitor, and whether communities hear clear answers. The lake does not care which word people use. Resource, risk, concession, boundary. It keeps its chemistry beneath the boats. Breathes. Imagine sleeping with a reservoir under your floor, not behind a wall, not across town, under the thing that feeds you. Nyiragongo erupted in May 2021 near Kivu, reminding researchers how quickly volcanic systems can alter familiar ground. After an eruption, the silence can feel dishonest. Streets cool, ash settles, people sweep doorsteps. The lake returns to looking calm. The RC paper evaluates whether Lake Kivu's gas content could reach saturation thresholds that make spontaneous release more likely. Saturation is a quiet word for a dangerous idea. Water can only hold so much before it begins giving something back. Kivu's protection is also its trap. The layers keep gas down. The layers let gas remain. Stability becomes storage. Researchers describe Kivu as meromictic, meaning deep waters rarely mix with surface waters, unlike lakes that turn over seasonally. Most nights, that means nothing happens. And nothing happening can become its own lullaby, soft enough to make danger seem rude. Cambridge researchers warn that a hot plume from volcanic fissures could carry deep, gas-rich water upward into lower pressure zones. Lower pressure is an invitation. The deep water arrives nearer the surface and begins to change its mind about holding gas. There may be no roar at first, just water moving differently. A smell. A dead patch of air. Birds leaving reeds. For people nearby, clear warning systems and evacuation planning may help. Not because disaster is certain, but because uncertainty needs practice. OCCRP reports Congolese NGOs raised transparency and safety concerns over methane concessions awarded for parts of Lake Kivu. Transparency is not paperwork in a place like this. It is whether someone sleeping near the water knows what is being changed beneath it. Extraction pipes do not simply take gas, they move water. They return water. They ask the lake to keep accepting new arrangements. The unnerving part is not that humans touched the lake. It is that the lake was already doing something delicate. Lake Kivu's methane exists partly because microbes produce it in deep water, while carbon dioxide enters through volcanic and geologic sources. It is a living chemistry. Tiny organisms, mineral springs, heat, pressure, and time, all working below a surface fishermen read for weather. That is the ordinary horror of Kivu. No monster breaches the surface. The monster is equilibrium, and equilibrium can be disturbed. If the story stays with you, consider following local reporting and research updates. And if you listen often, a quiet subscribe helps us continue. The RSC authors compare Lake Kivu's structure to Nios and Manon, which is why those older disasters remain part of today's risk assessment. History does not repeat cleanly, it leaves shapes. A valley, a cloud, a silence where morning chores should have been. Kivu is larger, busier, more entangled with daily life. Boats cross it like threads pulled through dark cloth. Scientists continue studying whether seismic shaking, volcanic heating, landslides, or industrial disturbance could overcome the lake's stratified stability. Good monitoring may look boring. Depth profiles, gas samples, maintenance logs, independent review. Boring is often what safety sounds like. The frightening thing is not one scenario, it is the list. Each item is plausible enough to deserve a sensor. At night, sensors blink on buoys, small and patient. They do not calm the lake. They only keep listening. A lake that can exhale does not need to move fast. It only needs one pathway from deep pressure to open air. Cambridge notes that if hot water rises through the lake, it could release dissolved gases and amplify further upward motion. That is how a quiet system becomes a moving one. A nudge becomes a current becomes a column. For the people on shore, the first sign might not look like disaster. It might look like mist, where mist does not belong. One practical response is asking simple questions. Who monitors gas levels? Who verifies extraction safety? Who tells residents when something changes? Simple questions can make powerful people uncomfortable. But near Kivu, discomfort is better than surprise. The lake's calm is not a lie. It is a condition. Conditions can hold for a very long time. Until they do not. The RSC study does not declare catastrophe inevitable. It models risk, thresholds, and long-term behavior in a lake with unusual gas storage. That restraint matters. Fear is easy. Measurement is harder. Measurement has to sit beside the water and admit what it does not know. So consider Kivu neither doomed nor harmless. Consider it watched, used, argued over, and not fully understood. There is dread in that middle place, not the certainty of disaster, the knowledge that ordinary life continues above stored pressure. Methane concessions on the Congolese side have drawn legal scrutiny, with NGOs seeking information about expertise, process, and environmental safeguards. Expertise is not abstract here. It is pipe depth, return flow, emergency plans, and the humility to leave a layer alone. because the lake has no memory for promises. It responds to heat, density, pressure, chemistry. It responds to what is done. Some hazards arrive with sirens, others arrive as stillness. Kivu belongs to that second family, the ones that ask you to listen longer. Tonight along the shore, cooking fires go out one by one. Boats are tied. Doors close. The lake keeps its surface smooth. Below it, cold layers press against warmer layers. Gas waits in water. The volcanoes sleep badly in the dark. From the shore, nothing moves. But if you stand there long enough, you may feel the lake holding its breath.